Alright, so here's the first thing. When you're completing a square, right? Here's what you gotta understand. The first thing is this. You can't complete the square unless this x squared is all by itself. Okay? In other words, it has nothing next to it besides a 1, right? Okay, so look next to x squared. Is there a 1 next to it? Yes, there's a 1 next to it, okay? Okay, it's 1x squared, just x squared, right? So here's what you do to complete the square. You take this number, the b, 16. You divide it by 2. How much is 16 divided by 2? 8. And now you square it. How much is 8 squared? And that's what you put in there. That's how you work. Okay? It's very simple to do this. Okay? All right, now let's write this down. You would then have what? X squared plus 16x plus 64. Okay, that's who's living in the hood. Okay? Okay? Now, watch. Do this for me. Factor the hood. Factor the hood. Well, two numbers multiplied give me 64, but added give me 16. 8 and 8, right, very good. So in other words, it's going to be x plus 8 times x plus 8. Or more importantly, x plus 8 squared. There you go. You factor the hood. Okay, now what you might have noticed, this is what we call a perfect square trinomial. When you complete the square, it always becomes a perfect square trinomial. Always, always. It makes it easy to factor. It's going to be a big thing to do when we go through. Okay, all right, so now who's living in the hood? X squared minus 12x plus 4. Okay, and that equals 0. Okay, all right, here we go. Who gets kicked out of the hood? 4. Okay, so we're going to kick 4 out of the hood. Okay. All right, now, they get lonely. Who's going to join them in the hood? 36. Good job. 36 is going to join them. Okay, but who's not going to join them in the hood? Negative 36, the evil brother. Okay. Factor the hood. Factor the hood.
Negative 6, x minus 6, x minus 6 squared.
X minus 6 squared. Good. X minus 6 squared. Okay. Add the outsiders. What do you get? Negative 32. Negative 32 equals 0. Okay. Make sense so far? Now, all of a sudden you might say, oh my gosh, that's what we learned about last week in bowling. Don't go straight. That's why I give you all these quizzes and stuff over this stuff. This is why you had to be good at this for these lessons. That's again, it kind of builds on itself, right? Okay, so how do I solve this now? What's the first thing I'm going to do? Add 32 to both sides, right? So I'm going to get this. Add 32 to both sides. Okay. All right, now what's the next thing I'm going to do? Square root both sides, right? All this stuff that you learned last week, now it's coming into play. Square root both sides, right? So you get what? X minus 6, right, equals, now what's this going to become? Plus or minus? Yeah, plus or minus? Plus or minus? Mm-hmm. 4 square root of 2, right? Plus or minus 4 square root of 2 will be simplified. You got it. Plus or minus 4 square root of 2. Beautiful, you got it. Okay, so because plus or minus 4 square root of 2 will be simplified. Okay, all right, now what would you do? Add the 6 over, right? So you're going to get what now? Here, we'll draw a line like this. So you get what? X equals what now? 6.
Plus or minus 4 square root of 2.
You got it. You see, and that's where all those lessons from last week now they come into play this week. Okay? So you guys got to stay on top of it. Okay, there you go. Additional step. Okay, so who's in the hood? 2x squared plus 8x plus 14, right? Okay, and that equals 0 over here, right? Okay, now who's going to get kicked out of the hood? 14. 14 gets kicked out. Oops. There you go. Okay, but now here's the thing, x squared's not by itself. So who else is going to get kicked out of the hood? No? 2 is. And then 2 is going to get kicked out of the hood also. So here comes 2 out, right? And we get x squared plus 4x, right? Plus 14. And that equals 0. Okay. Okay, all right, now, who's going to join them in the hood? Who's going to join them in the hood? 4. 4 will join them in the hood, that's correct. Once again, 4 divided by 2, right? 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. Okay, who's going to join them in the hood? 4. Who's not going to join them in the hood? Okay, but it's not negative 4. Now, here's why. Because that negative 4, to get out of the hood, has to go by this guy. The gatekeeper. Okay? It has to go by this guy, the gatekeeper, the guy who watches the gates of the hood, right? So it's not going to be negative 4, it's going to be negative 8. Negative 8. It's going to be negative 4 times this 2 to get negative 8 is right. It's going to be negative 8.
Wait.
Here, that's a hand. Who's going to join them in the hood? 4. Who's not going to join them in the hood? Negative 4, but to get out of the hood, he has to go by this guy. That's already out there.
So you do 2 times it.
So negative 4 times 2, which is negative 8. Okay? Okay, everybody get it? Okay, all right, now, here we go. Factor the hood. Factor the hood. It's plus 2 squared, right? Okay, add the outsiders. Plus 6 equals 0. Okay? Okay, now we got to solve, right? Okay, so what would you do first to solve? Subtract 6 from both sides. Okay, so we're going to get this. Subtract 6 from both sides. We get this. Negative 6. Divide by 2, right? So we're going to get this. Because we're over here now. We're running out of room. Okay? Oops. Sorry. So we're dividing by 2. So here we go. Okay. There's that. Divide by 2. And what's the next thing we're going to do? Square root both sides, right? Square root both sides. So here we go. Square root. Okay. So now you get what? X plus 2 equals, okay, now what's that going to be? I square root. So I square root 3. I square root 3. What are you getting? Plus or minus, right? Plus or minus I square root 3. Plus or minus I square root 3 is right. Good job. That's the stuff you got to turn into what? The i's, right? Okay, what are you going to do now? Subtract the 2. So you get what? X equals what now? Negative 2 plus or minus I square root 3. There's your answer right there. You got it. There's your answer. The area of a rectangle shown is 112 square units. What's the value of x? Okay, all right, so now set this one up for me. What would it be?
7x squared.
Yeah, it's going to be 7x times x plus 6, right? And that's going to equal how much? 112, right? Okay, now what's the next thing we would do? Distribute, right? So you're going to get 7x squared plus 42x equals 112. Okay. Okay, now look who lives in the hood. It's just 7x squared and 42x. Okay. So who are you going to kick out of the hood? The 7. The 7's getting kicked out. So here's the 7 going out. He'll become the gatekeeper. X squared plus 6x, right? Equals 112. What's that? Well, because of the fact you want to cause it to be a trinomial, remember? And because you want a trinomial, right, you got to have that as being squared, okay? So that was a good one to ask about. Okay, all right, now who's going to join them in the hood? 9 is, very good. So 9 joins them in the hood, okay? So here's 9 joining them. Okay, now who's not going to join them in the hood? Negative 63. Right, so now negative 63 is going to be over here. Okay? Okay, so negative 63, okay? Okay, all right, once again, you take the evil brother, negative 9, and multiply it by the gatekeeper, remember? So negative 9 times 7 is negative 63. Okay?
No, it's always negative on the right side.
Okay. Okay, all right, now, here goes the next thing. Okay, factor the hood, factor the hood. So what? 7 x plus 3 squared minus 63 equals 112, right? Okay, now we can solve. So we're going to add 63 to both sides, right? Okay, so hang on, let me draw the squiggly here. That's going to give you 175, right? When you add 63. Okay, what are you going to do now? Divide by 7, right? So you get. Okay, so what's 175 divided by 7? 25, good job. Okay. All right, now what's the next thing you're going to do? Square root both sides, right? So square root both sides. Here we go, like this and like this. So you get what? X plus 3 equals what now? What? Plus or minus 5, right? Plus or minus 5, okay? Okay, now what are you going to do?
Minus 2.
So,
That means subtract 3.
so 3, so you get x equals what now? Negative 3 plus or minus 5, right? Okay, remember, we talked about this on Friday when we did the quiz. That's not the answer yet. So now, so you combine, right? So what? So we're going to get 1 for the answers. 2 and negative 8, right? 2 and negative 8 are the answers, right? So negative 8 and 2 are the answers, right? Okay, but now here's the thing. Which of these is not a good answer? Negative 8. Negative 8 is no good because you can't have a negative length on a rectangle, right? So that means the only answer could be 2. Okay, now let me ask you this also, Brad. Okay, what's 7 times 2? 14. And what's 2 plus 6? 8, right? So if they ask you what's the length on the rectangle, it'll be 8 by 14. And look, does 8 times 14 equal 112? And the answer is yes, it does. Okay, so there's the. Okay, so here we go. So here's our equation. Okay, now who's living in the hood? Minus 12x plus 22. Okay, they live in the hood. Okay, now who gets kicked out of the hood? 22. 22 gets kicked out of the hood. So here's 22 getting kicked out. Okay, now who's going to join them in the hood? 25. 25 will join them in the hood. But who's not going to join them in the hood? Negative 25.
Oh, wait, no, yeah.
Okay? Okay, now here we go. Factor the hood. X minus 5 squared. You got it. Okay, and add the outsiders. Minus 3. You just did it. It's in vertex form. There you go. It's in vertex form. Okay, now here's the thing. If you got this kind of a question, and you're getting the answer, you say, gosh, I'm not sure if I got the right answer, then here's what you could do. You can go put this into y equals on your calculator, and put this into y2 equals on your calculator, right? And graph it. And what should happen? So one should graph on top of the other. It should get the same graph, not just see one graph. That would confirm I got the right answer. I got it. Okay? Sorry about that. They don't know. Yeah. All right. So remember, this is the vertex form or the equation. So the vertex is, all right, now what do? You take the opposite of that one, right? So it's 5. And here you keep that one. Remember, it stays the same. So opposite of what's inside, same as outside. There's the vertex. Okay, we did. That was another lesson that you guys have already turned into me, right? Now graded it. Okay. Yeah. See all this. Yeah.